everyone, welcome back to UC SWE's podcast. We can't believe it's already November, time is flying by, and this month we have a really great podcast for you. Our focus this month is on computer science, so we have an interview with an industry representative who is working in computer science and software, and we also have an interview with one of our UC SWE members who is a computer science student here at UC. So we hope you gain some great information this month, and as always, let us know if you have any questions. All right, everyone, and this week we are here with Tracy Lusby, and she currently works at Siemens Industries, and we are going to be interviewing her this week about some of her experiences in college and in her career. Welcome, Tracy. All right, Tracy. So, what was the most difficult part for you of transitioning from college to industry?
Well, when I think about transitioning from college to industry, first thing, I co-op for the company that I took a job with out of college. So I was really familiar already with the building, the people that were there, and the culture of the company. However, I'd never worked in the support department as a co-op. So when I transitioned to full-time work, obviously, you're working regular work hours. You don't have a lot of flexibility in your schedule, and you're limited to 2 weeks of vacation. Some of the things like that I had to think about was, attire. So you had to wear business clothes, a little bit different than today, which is, things are a lot more casual in the work environment today, unless you're customer facing. Thinking about expectations for performance, and specifically how to relate to your coworkers. So I was the only woman in an all-male department, the only technical woman. All of the other women that were there were secretaries and admins. So, I had to work to gain the respect of not only my coworkers, but customers. And doing that, I had to be very focused, hardworking, and diligent. And I found that I was taken more seriously if I could have discussions that focused on facts and logic without emotion. Often customers, when they call support, are upset and unhappy because, they can't get something to work the way they expect it to work. And I needed to learn how to de-escalate situations and inspire them to have confidence in me that I could solve their issue. And then really, I guess the final thing I would say is just thinking about managing your own financial independence, where you have a steady salary, but along with that, you have bills, etc., and how to select the right benefits and start saving for your retirement and thinking about things like that, even though it seems really far off.
Awesome. That was a bunch of really useful information. So, what skills do you still use from your college experience, and what do you not use as much?
Okay, well, if I focus on my earlier days, when I first started working, I was doing technical support, and I found that I did have use of physics, materials, sometimes a little bit of calculus for mass properties and things like that. But some of the biggest things that I found that I use then and now is logic, troubleshooting, and problem solving. My husband and I are both engineers, and we both think that one of the biggest things that we learned in engineering was problem solving, all types of problem solving. And I think that really translates into almost any job. And then the other thing that I think really helped is that it gave you the language to talk about with customers. So when we have customers that are using our software and they're engineers or designers or things like that, so being able to relate to what they're doing and use the same type of language. And Also, then my MBA, I find that I use a lot of the people management and the organizational skills, along with business writing, statistics, and other HR related skills in my current job. The things that I don't use, I would say specifically the aerospace specific type classes that I took. So things like propulsion or fluid dynamics or things like that. So I would say more of the general troubleshooting and things like that that I learned are the most valuable.
Awesome. That was really great. So, thinking back to when you were 18, 16, 18, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
Well, now you're asking me to go way back and try to remember. But actually, seriously, what I would tell myself is to develop strong study skills, to take your classes, very seriously and focus more on school, study more, maybe party less. Don't get behind to where you have to dig yourself out of a hole. So try to start the semester off with strong grades so that you're not scrambling to try to get yourself back in good shape by the end of the semester. Also, I would say realize that what you're learning is not necessarily going to be always the most useful, but what you're learning is how to learn and how to apply knowledge. Because throughout your life, plans will change, jobs will change, different things will become important to you throughout your whole life. So don't be afraid to try things, to understand what you do and don't like, and don't be afraid to fail at something or find out that you don't like something. I would say that growth over the years and through the years of college made my senior year much easier, not because it was necessarily easier, but because I knew how to learn at that point.
That is some really great advice. I hope all of you guys listening make sure to hear that and take advantage of the great advice you've been given. Another question for you, Tracy, is what does a typical day at work look like for you?
Well, going back to my early days when I was doing technical support, I would say most of my day was spent talking with customers, working with them, trying to replicate and resolve their problems. So, doing a lot of problem solving, doing a lot of creating of FAQs, and doing e learning. Today, now that I'm more in a managerial role, I would say like my typical day is spent a lot in front of email, lots of meetings with staff and with customers, with other managers, and with development, as well as using various tools like SAP or Excel. I do a lot to review, things that have been open for a long period of time in my group. I work with our website to focus on customer specific downloads and work on our knowledge base. I have meetings with product managers to ensure that my group has training for the upcoming releases, and I work with marketing for customer onboarding for our products. Additionally, I work on escalated customer issues and obviously other various HR related things like performance reviews and one-on-one meetings with my direct reports, etc.
Awesome. That sounds like a lot of really cool stuff you get to do. So, what exactly is your role at Siemens? And where did you go to school and what did you major in?
So I work for Siemens Digital Industries Software, and I'm a senior manager in global customer support. I went to the University of Cincinnati and received my Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering in 1992, and I received my Master's in Business Administration in 1998.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tracy. We really appreciated you having you on this week to talk to us, and we hope that our listeners got some great information from this. Thank you. Alright guys, so we're here today with Sarah, and Sarah's a computer science major, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the opportunities that exist for computer science students. Welcome, Sarah. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about CS?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Sarah. I'm a third year in computer science. At this point, I've completed 2 co-ops with a company called Atomic Robot, which specializes in app development. But just kind of an overview of CS. Computer science typically deals with the software side of things, so lots of programming and coding. And typically, you'll learn things like from basic programming up to some more advanced topics. You take classes like data structures, which is different ways you can structure your data, and also algorithms, which are kind of different methods you can use within your programs. But then you also can take more advanced courses like machine learning and AI, which I'm sure you may have heard of before. But computer science is pretty broad and it's pretty versatile, and there's software in almost everything, so it can be used in a lot of different places.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sarah. So what are some specific types of co-ops that a computer science student can do?
So in terms of co-op, there are lots of different options. I remember when I was applying for co-ops, just seeing the kind of different industries you can work in was really cool. Specifically, I have done my co-ops in app development, but in more of a general sense, you can work in a role that's more front-end, which is kind of like web development and user interfaces, or you can work on the back end, which is with a lot of APIs and handling data and that sort of thing, or you can do what's full stack, which is both of them together. But typically your role in co-op will probably be as a software developer of some sort, and you'll be working on a team for some particular project, and you'll probably be assigned certain tasks within that project. But I also can kind of touch on the different industries you can work in. Honestly, you can probably find a co-op in software, or even just a job in computer science in virtually any industry, because kind of like I touched on before, software is kind of everywhere nowadays. So you can kind of work wherever, and that's kind of one of the things I love about computer science is, I could put my feet into so many different industries. But for example, you could maybe have a co-op that's still software, but in the healthcare industry or education, or even you could do something more along the lines of cybersecurity. So there really are tons of different options. It really just kind of depends on where your interests lie and where you kind of see yourself going in the future.
Awesome. That sounds like a lot of different majors. So I know for like biomedical engineering majors and a lot of more of the hard sciences, there's a lot of research opportunities. Are there any opportunities that exist in computer science?
For sure. Yeah, computer science can definitely be male-dominated, but I definitely think that's still important for girls to pursue that as a career, especially if that's what they're interested in. In my experience, one of the things that's helped me is just being confident in my own skill set. I remember going into my first co-op, I wasn't really sure if I had the technical experience required or if I was going to be able to do a good enough job, but just kind of realizing that just because I was female didn't mean I wasn't any less valuable to the team was really helpful. So I definitely say just be confident, even though it's hard, and just stand firm in like what you know. And even if you don't know, be willing just to kind of explore or ask questions. I know everybody says don't be afraid to ask questions, but asking questions is so important and actually can show like your curiosity and how much you actually want to learn and get better. And another thing I will add is one of the things that's really helped me, especially in my co-op, is just learning new skills on my own. My co-op, like I said earlier, is about app development, and that's not really something that the CS curriculum at UC particularly has, and it's not really, and even then, even if you did take a course, you probably wouldn't take that until later on in your CS career. So for me, I've learned app development on my own time through different websites and YouTube videos. And really my initiative just to kind of learn different things or explore different topics that I was interested in have been really helpful for me. So definitely, don't be discouraged, and just, if you're interested in something, go watch a YouTube video or try to build something, because it can only really help you in the long run.
That was some really good advice. Thank you so much for coming on, Sarah. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great just getting to talk about it, and I hope to see more girls joining computer science in the future. But before I go, I just kind of wanted to throw in, there are a few organizations on campus that you can join for computer science, and even specifically ones for girls in technology. Specifically, there's ACMW, which is a branch of ACM, but specifically for women. And then there's also Women in Technology.
Awesome. Thank you so much to both Tracy and Sarah for being a part of this month's podcast, and thank you all for listening to the great advice and information shared. If you have any questions or suggestions for future podcasts, feel free to let us know. You can connect with us at UC Suite by emailing us or following our social media accounts. And be sure to stay tuned for our next podcast coming this month. Thank you.